Auckland, la ciudad más importante de Nueva Zelanda y también su principal puerto de ingreso. Aquí viven más de 450.000 personas. Nueva Zelanda es conocido como una de las economías más libres del mundo y también la menos corrupta. Este lugar se caracteriza por la amabilidad de su gente. Mr. Andy Dalton, Chief Executive Officer of the Auckland Rugby Union, thank you for having us here at the Cloud. Would you tell us what is the Cloud about?
It's been put in here, it was considered temporary for the Rugby World Cup and for hosting opportunities, but I think it's been such a success that it's likely to remain. And as a tourism opportunity for selling New Zealand food, beverage. If you have a wander through here, I'm sure you'll see a lot of that. It's fantastic.
Would you share your impressions about this Rugby World Cup?
Been an outstanding success to date, and the whole of New Zealand has got in behind it, and I think people around the world have seen the passionate nature of the Kiwis towards their national game, and people throughout the country have got on behind the teams where they've been visiting in local areas. It's been fantastic support, and I think you'll find it'll be unanimous amongst the teams. It's been very successful.
Why do you think rugby is so important in New Zealand?
We're good at it on an international stage, and probably the best opportunity we have to sell ourselves. We think we have a beautiful country. We're good at rugby, and perhaps that's the best opportunity to sell our country to the world.
What do you think are the main challenges that your organization is going through?
Probably with the global economic crisis, I think there's been a reduction in the amount of discretionary income. So people are being more selective about the activities that they follow and the games that they attend. So declining attendance is an issue for us.
How do you see the All Black team?
Historically, yes. I think the team is very well prepared. It's a very experienced side. Many of them have been through 2007 when we had a wee hiccup in Cardiff, and I think we've learnt a lot from that. Team's tracking very well at the moment. I'll be very surprised if they can get past Argentina next week in the quarters. Be very surprised if they're not in the final.
How about the Pumas, and how do you see the Argentinian rugby style in New Zealand?
Very excited the possibilities of them joining us in the Four Nations from what was three nations or tri-nations. And I think it's a fantastic opportunity for Argentina, and we're going to drag them into the international professional world. Most of your top players are in Europe. I think it would be nice to see a competition starting, and maybe they join our Super Rugby competition with a few teams in Argentina in time. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity for Argentina to improve their standing on the international stage, and New Zealand, Australia, South Africa are committed to help them with that.
How do you see this coming new tournament of the Four Nations would change compared to what it was the Tri-Nations competition?
I think it's, as I say, an outstanding opportunity for Argentina. I think it's critical that they have their top players available, and that'll be a bit of a test for them to get them released from their northern clubs. But again, it comes back to developing more of the local players in Argentina and getting a really strong competition through Argentina. I think we can assist with that.
How many visitors have you expected at this time in New Zealand?
For the Rugby World Cup, we're expecting around 95,000. So, and for the semi-finals and finals, everything's happening in Auckland. So this party is going to absolutely take off. It's going to rock. What
would you say are the main stages in your career?
The most exciting moment was being named in an All Black side in 1977. That was a very exciting moment. And then to play my first test against France in 1977 was a great moment as well.
What are the All Blacks to you?
Family, close family. I feel very much part of it, having been there. I know the hard work that is required to make the team, and I know the hard work that's required to be successful. So very much part of my life.
At what age did you started playing rugby?
I was probably a bit later than most. I started playing in a team about 10, long time ago now.
From chairman of the board from the Auckland Rugby Union, what would be your message to your whole community and to the world?
Rugby World Cup has given us a wonderful opportunity to improve our infrastructure with Eden Park redevelopment, to showcase our country and particularly Auckland in these last few weeks of the tournament. I would be saying get out and embrace it and really enjoy it, and let's have a party.
How many people worked for this World Cup?
It'll be millions, because and the viewership's huge. How many come down here? I would think hundreds of thousands of people will be visiting the Cloud and the Viaduct during the course of the tournament. We have a little problem with how many people we can have here for the finals, so it will be limited, I'm sure.
Mr. Andy Dalton, many thanks for this interview.
It's a pleasure. Nice to meet you.
So much. Estamos con el señor Martin Sneeden, que es CEO of the Rugby World Cup 2011 aquí en Auckland, en la nube. How are you, Mr. Sneeden?
Very well, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Would you tell us exactly what do you do and your responsibilities are about with this Rugby World Cup?
Yeah. I'm the Chief Executive of the organisation that's responsible for delivering the 48 matches that comprise the rugby tournament for the Rugby World Cup. We look after each of the teams, including your team, for the time they're in New Zealand. We sell all of the tickets to the games. But the other thing that we've had to do is to create the flavour of the Cup. So to engage with New Zealanders, to help them understand the opportunity for our country around this event, and to get them into the right space to make sure that we are great hosts.
What are the main challenges that you're facing as the CEO of the Rugby World Cup?
Well, New Zealand's a very small country, and there were many people who thought that we're too small to host a tournament of this magnitude. So it was about really going about proving that people were wrong about that, just making sure that our country was going to be able to handle all of the operational and logistical matters that needed to be placed in order for this tournament. And then making sure that New Zealanders embraced it in a way that you, as a visitor, would enjoy your experience in New Zealand.
How is it that a cricket player, you've played over 100 games as a cricket player, ended up conducting the Rugby World Cup?
Well, like every other New Zealander, I love rugby, and when I was younger I played rugby, but I think the experience that I had in cricket, particularly in World Cups, Cricket World Cups, I've been involved in 5 of those, 2 as a player and 3 in an administrative role. The structure of a Cricket World Cup is very similar to a Rugby World Cup, and so I think that people had seen the experience that I had in that and felt that I could do the same job. I've loved it. It's been the best working experience of my life.
Visitors from overseas did you have in the whole games?
Well, we're expecting somewhere around 95,000 visitors to come to New Zealand for this Cup, which is, for our country, that's huge. And at the moment, if you walk around Auckland today, there are Scottish fans, there are English fans, there are South African fans, there are all sorts of people, I think, having fun. And that's a little bit the same all over New Zealand at the moment. So we're confident that will be about the number that will come here.
I've been walking your streets and I found tons of Argentine fans.
Yeah.
How would you define the Argentine fans and their behavior in the games?
I think they have been the biggest and best surprise for me of the whole tournament. before the tournament began, we could check through ticket sales how many people we thought were coming from various countries around the world. And we looked at the number of tickets that had been sold in Argentina, and we thought, that's okay, not bad. But then I turned up at the first game where Argentina were playing England in Dunedin, and I looked down at a stadium and there looked to me to be about 10,000 Argentinian fans. Now what I know is that a lot of Kiwis decided that day they would support Argentina and they got dressed up, but there were many Argentinians that turned up in New Zealand just before that game. They purchased their tickets once they arrived. They got into motor homes, and they have been travelling all over New Zealand. They are the best fans that exist in this World Cup. They get into a stadium, they come alive, they make so much noise, they create a vibrancy that's there. Even the other day when Argentina was playing Scotland and scored that magnificent try at the end to win the game, it was a cold, wet day in Wellington. But your fans managed to turn the stadium into a warm and fantastic atmosphere.
Martin Sneeden, CEO of this Rugby World Cup 2011, thank you so much for this interview here at Auckland.
My pleasure.
Thank you.